Drawing mouths gets scary when one wrong line can ruin the whole face, right? So we'll start with the safest version possible, one simple line, and build it up step by step. Let's build this properly. So we'll start with this line, then add a smaller one underneath to suggest the lower lip. And these two tiny lines are actually the safest option when your character is really small and you've only got a little space to hint at the mouth. But what if we want to draw it properly? How to upgrade it? Don't worry, we've got this because we'll use our good old basic shapes again. So this is a technique I personally found the easiest. So if we draw a simple white triangle and then another one underneath, flipped upside down, then it instantly starts to look like what we want, an upper and a lower lip. Now we just soften those sharp triangle shapes with smoother lines and add this little V shape at the top, which is called a Cupid's bow, but honestly, you can just think of it as the center notch of the upper lip. In cartoon styles, you don't need to draw this every time. Sometimes it's a sharp V, sometimes it's soft, and sometimes it disappears completely. All three are valid. And from here, we can adjust it a bit more, for example, the corners of the mouth. The line can run through these corner points and you can curve it up or a bit down, depending on the expression. And once you have the basics, you can adjust the whole mouth into almost any shape. So the lips can be narrower or bolder or even mixed, which is actually very common, that the upper lip is a bit narrower and the lower one is bolder. Or we can start with an oval shape and roughly split it into two parts, a thinner upper and a larger lower one. Or a fuller look again, it can be more circular, or we can exaggerate it a tall oval, and then we get a very cartoonish result. Yeah. Whichever technique you choose, once the rough sketch is in place, you can start refining the actual mouth shape. So this is the easiest for me to experiment with the different mouth shapes. Then I just catch myself not drawing always every line strictly, so I start to experiment not with just the forms, but the lines as well. So things start to get out of my hands, so try to back on to an easy to follow track. So I always start with light sketch lines, and as my decisions become clearer where I want each line to go, I gradually press the pencil more. And this is where stylization comes into play, because how many lines you use is a style choice. For now, the rule is simple, only add the line if it helps the expression. And the first expression we are aiming for is a simple smile. So we go back to our first lines and widen them slightly, and add more to them. Two tiny lines at each corner of the mouth like this. It can absolutely help the smiling expression pop. Now, if we want to draw it a bit detailed, then we can use the shape technique again and start to define the shape of the mouth by drawing them. But now we have to keep it wide, so wide triangles for the lips, and we also can curve them a bit, or else it will just look like the natural version. And this isn't an eyes or a facial expression tutorial, but it's worth keeping in mind that the wide smile affects the eyes too. The cheeks push them up a little, so they get narrower. The eyes kind of smile along. Now we'll move on to a toothy smile. The mouth opens just a little and we start to see the teeth. If we start from the line version again, the teeth sit right between these two lines. So we can draw another line down here for the lower lip. And I usually shade the corners just a little, which suggests the teeth fading into the mouth. It's a tiny detail, as you can see, but it adds realism without killing the cartoony feel. Another little detail I like to make that I draw the upper lip wider than the lower one. And here we can start to play around the shape of the lips again, thinner lips, fuller lips, and things like that. But look, the teeth usually fill the whole gap between the lips. Not like when we start to open that gap and lean into a broad smile. Now here we can safely simplify the teeth into a single line. By the way, I made a short quick tip video just on teeth, a few easy tricks for different emotions, link in the description if you want to check it out. Alright, so our character's having a great time. A laugh really only differs from a broad smile by how wide the mouth opens. We might even see the tongue And in general, the bigger the gap, the harder the laugh. Now let's add a bit more detail. After that, we'll flip it and look at the opposite emotion with the sad mouth. So this time I changed the strategy and start with the mouth opening itself. I draw the gap as big as the laugh I want, and from there I start adding the familiar triangles from the previous technique. These are not triangles anymore, but anyway. So you can choose to add the little V shape on the upper lip or leave it out, it's up to you. But next, I add the simplified teeth, and I like to tweak it a bit by leaving a small gap at one corner or at both corners. Sometimes one is enough. Now, but let's look at the sad mouth. The simple line version is easy, just a downward curve. And the more we bend it, the more miserable our poor character becomes. Sorry, buddy. Now, we can add little lines to each side and down here again, as usual, because it helps sell the sad feeling even more. And in the more detailed version, what's interesting is that even if the lower lip doesn't follow this curve, it still reads as sad. And we can still add this little line down here to help the sad expression. And it works well with other lip shapes too, of course. You just need to make sure this line curves slightly downward. Okay, let's see how an angry mouth can look like. Now here we can change the mouth shape totally, because we need snarling with gritting teeth, very cartoonish. So I usually just start to roughly sketch the mouth line, but if you want more control in it, then you can start with a rectangle shape and tweaking it into the wanted form. Then just erase the unnecessary lines. Here, we'll do something a bit funny because we'll add the small tweak to the teeth using a zigzag line. I assume that the idea comes from dogs when they are snarling and their canines pop out. Those teeth are very emphasized, and with the zigzag, or even two, because we can repeat it the other side too, we are kind of borrowing that idea. So this little triangle here is meant to suggest the canine. So the zigzag isn't as random as it looks, but a bit more planned in a way that hints at the tooth. Most people won't consciously think that, oh yeah, that's the canine, but they feel it. And that suggestion is exactly what we need for this expression to work. By the way, the snarl can be tighter, of course, or we don't even need a zigzag every time if we don't want, but for example like this works too. The key point is that we are emphasizing the gritty teeth in some way. There's a softer version of anger, and we are briefly driving in reverse through the emotions, but it's okay. Mirrors checked, all good. So when the mouth is just slightly open and our character is growling under his breath, you know, that go to hell, you're dead to me. And here we can also add little accent lines around the mouth, but these are not wrinkles, just tiny hints that the mouth is tense or trembling with anger. And as usual, we can draw the detailed version again. So I start the same way as before, then add the extra lip lines. Remember that the lips are thinner at the corner, so using dynamic line works helps a lot here too. Thickest in the center, tapering toward the edges. We can also suggest the gum area, because when someone is growling, you usually see the gums as well, you know. So we can add a slightly darker shade there. And with that, we are already stepping into shading territory. For now, I won't use proper colors because I cover coloring in another episode, or more like several episodes, since it's a huge topic. Right now, I just want to hint at the idea how we can suggest things like the gums, or how we usually shade the lips. One more quick thing to keep in mind. When we color lips, we usually shade the upper lip a little darker than the lower one. Why? Because light often comes from above and the upper lip tilts downward slightly. So when the light hits the mouth, that part naturally falls into shadow. The lower lip, on the other hand, catches more direct light, so it appears lighter. And just to be clear, this isn't a strict rule. Different mouth positions or different light directions will change how the lips are shaded. So think of this as a basic handy default that works well in most situations. So neutral, smile, laugh, sadness, and anger. Checked. Whew! My poor character's been through a lot. Hope you picked up something useful today too. Next we are moving on to ears. At least we don't have to ride this roller coaster again. But I show you how to simplify that wibbly wobbly inner ear line so it actually reads like an ear, plus some playful and easy cartoon tricks to play with. But that's all for today. Take a moment to try it out on your own. Start simple, then experiment with the shapes, and don't worry too much about making it perfect, okay? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.